All right. Hello, hello. Let's unmute the desktop audio. And welcome to the inaugural edition of King of the Pitch. So we're going to start off with a little bit of what's going to be happening today. So in about 25 minutes time, maybe a bit sooner if everyone's ready, we are going to be playing a best of three between Star Ferret and Gimlick, who are the first two competitors for this King of the Pitch tournament. So what is King of the Pitch? That's what I wanted to start with. So I'm going to tell you what the tournament is. I'm going to give you a little look over the two teams and the two players, and then we will start with the games. So so what is King of the Pitch? So King of the Pitch is a new tournament that I am running starting this week, which is going to be every week a 1v1 match between two players who have signed up in advance, who are going to be playing a NAF-style resurrection with three different teams, and it's kind of best of two, I suppose, and if it's a draw after the two games, then there'll be a third game, and that third game will be overtime format, so there was always a winner. And the winner, in true King of the Hill style, then gets to stay on for the next week. If a person is able to maintain their streak for several weeks, we will acknowledge that, and we will show their overall standings, their streak. We will keep a track on record of the most impressive streaks, and the person who manages to get any person who manages to get a streak beyond a certain number will be eligible for certain small prizes as well. So that's the basic principle of the tournament. The idea is that I will be streaming and commentating all three games. Unfortunately today I am slightly recovering from the back end of a cold, so there's a possibility that my voice gives out at some point. Hoping it will be okay, but we'll see. So I've got a friend invitation from my other competitor, Gimlick, here. So that's the basic idea. We are going to have today the first ever iteration of this tournament, so please bear with me if there are any kinks to iron out. I'm still working things out. Now, our two competitors today are two very, very talented coaches. We have none other than Gimlick. Gimlick is a legend, veteran of Rebel, veteran of OCC, which I believe he has won OCC, if I'm not mistaken, I think. Likes his Necro. Very, very good player in the league circuit. I think, yes, you did win it once. Yes, I remember that. I was correct. I thought so. It's hard to check the history on these things sometimes because, you go to the OCC website, they don't exactly have a great sort of list of historical champions, at least not one that I could find. Anyway, so that aside, I believe, yes, runner-up in Rebel, that I do remember, because I think I'd picked you to win the whole thing in the predictions competition. Anyway, Gimlick is currently sitting here in chat as we wait for the games to begin. As I show you the two teams, so the three teams, what I'm going to do is I am going to send each of you the list of teams of your opponents, so you can start making the decision of what team you want to send out first. So let's forward this to Star Ferret, and we'll forward this to Gimlick. I think Star Ferret. So Star Ferret was the reason that we were asked to start at 1800 UTC instead of what I had originally planned, which was 1600 UTC. And he said that he would probably be a little busy right up to the time. So I think he's probably not in the chat right now, which is why I'm sending him messages on Discord rather than talking to him directly. Unlike Gimlick, who I know is here because he's talking to me, which is lovely. And thank you very, very much to both of you for agreeing to do this, because I very much appreciate it. And I think I'm hoping it's going to be a lot of fun. So, with that in mind, let's start looking at the two teams the 3 teams that each player has brought. So if we go to Gimlick's profile, we can see the 3 teams that are here. We have, the first one is Old World Alliance. Now, Old World Alliance is a fun team in this rule set because you get the stack on the Blitzer, which allows you to get access to Tackle Mighty Blow. One of the few ways you can manage that in this rule set. With this roster, there are 5 guard on the team, which is a pretty sizable amount and will make it very difficult for a lot of teams to play against. Gone with the Ogre as well. I think that fit more nicely into the team building cache, if I'm not mistaken. I think the big question that always happens on these Old World Alliance teams is what do you do with the Troll Slayer? Gimlick's just gone the sensible route and given it guard. It's never a bad skill. I think a lot of people shy away from guard on frenzy pieces because then the guard kind of ends up in a place where you don't want it and it feels less useful, whereas you want your guard kind of sticking together and not getting involved. So a lot of people default to giving this like Mighty Blow. I saw JD Whitey in the Every Team Cup, which is the rule set that I took the team building rules from. Actually went with Stand Firm on the Troll Slayer, which is kind of a cosplay of the, if I'm not mistaken, the new rules, Old World Alliance. Old World Alliance, of course, in the new edition, are a totally different kettle of fish and a very, very scary, strong team, possibly the strongest team in the game. But in this edition, they are getting help from being tiered quite low because they are not such a strong team. So the tiering gives them a lot of skills and a lot of cash, and allows you to build a really big team with a lot of different angles of attack as well. Of course, I mean, that's the whole point of the team. You have the halflings here for the throw teammate, for fouling, for various odd jobs, and just as warm bodies that don't cost very much. You've got a thrower with leader, so that allows you to cut down, turn a skill effectively into team building cash, which is always useful. Got a blodge catcher, very good, and as I mentioned, all of the dwarves and the ogre have come with guard in this particular version of the build. So this looks like a very solid, very scary team. There's a lot of teams that won't want to face this at all. You know, stunty teams, for example, not going to be wanting to face up to Tackle Mighty, and so on. And with 14 players, even with 2 of them being halflings, this might have enough, gas, because this is one of the decisions that's going to have to be made is, which of the teams do you save for the overtime? So this is the first of Gimlick's teams. We'll see when Gimlick wants to send them out. The second one we have here is Imperial Nobility. Now, there's a bit of a theme here because this team also has 5 guard. Guard, Stand Firm, of course, incredible combo. There's a lot of teams that really just struggle to ever push forward against Imperial Nobility. Nobility have this issue in general where they're very kind of fragile with all of the, the AV 8 plus, AV 9 plus pieces, and they feel like they can kind of just fall apart, but if they don't fall apart, they can be very, very annoying to get through. So definitely a team that feels stronger on defense than on offense. And of course, the team that won the World Championships, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but yeah, another very good and very strong team. So for the stack on this one, because you could stack Tackle Mighty on a body card, but you really would just want to be taking guard on all of them. So for the stack instead has gone for a Blodge Tackle Blitzer, which is going to be doing good work at running and chasing things down. And of course we've got here another leader, another player who is giving a Gimlick the ability to turn skills into team building cash, which is often a very valuable thing to be doing with these expensive teams like this. So we've got 2 rerolls plus leader, got the Apo. 12 players is fine, but you could definitely feel like this might fall apart at some point if they came up against a team that was able to just outfight them. And of course the other thing, but they've got a lot of things going for them, like it's very hard to one turn against these guys and so on. So it's a good team. We'll see how it goes for the Imperial Nobility. The final team that Gimlick has gone for, and Gimlick has really gone for a theme here, because these are all sort of human-y teams. I mean, I know Old World Alliance have a lot of non-humans, but yeah, 2 of the teams have 2 halflings and a lot of human players. So that's quite fun. And this time, instead of having 5 guard, we have only 4. So this team is clearly the weakest because it has the least guard. Could have had 5 guard, but chose instead to stack Tackle Mighty Blow on the Blitzer, which again, so we've got 2 of the teams have Tackle Mighty Blow, so it has good matchups into a lot of different elf teams, into stunty teams, and so on. And has the guards to try and fight against the strong teams. Of course, always a problem for humans fighting into teams that have a strength advantage. Sneaky Git can potentially help in those matchups as well by allowing you to take a pot shot at a downed orc or saurus or something along those lines, which would otherwise be quite difficult to deal with. This one does not have leader, instead has the 3 rostered rerolls. You probably just want all of your skills doing things here. You could argue for the Sneaky Git to be a leader, but you have plenty of players, you have plenty of stuff, you've got the Apo, so it's probably not necessary. So those are the 3 teams that Gimlick has brought. And now let's take a look and see at what Star Ferret will be challenging with. I mean, of course, in this one, they're both the challengers. That's the way it works. So, Star Ferret has brought also Old World Alliance. I'm going to start here because I think it's interesting to look at the difference between the 2 Old World Alliance teams, because they're actually very similar, except, well, I say they're very similar, but Star Ferret has the Tree Man instead of the Ogre, which is a fun difference. And also, as I mentioned on this Troll Slayer, there's a lot of different things you can take on the Troll Slayer. Star Ferret has gone for the ultimate banger route and has the Tackle Mighty Blow and a Mighty Blow Troll Slayer. We still have the leader here. We have quite a huge bench with 15 players. So this is going to be a team that has pretty significant resilience. And has the Tackle Mighty Blow to be chasing down the various halflings that are dotting around on Gimlick's teams. I think it's not clear to me whether this has... So this team only has 3 guard as opposed to the 5 guard of most of Gimlick's teams and the 4 guard of Gimlick's humans. So maybe for that reason it could struggle, but I'm not convinced that there's like a huge amount in the Old World Alliance versus, say, Imperial Nobility matchup that either team is particularly afraid of, right? Like Old World Alliance versus humans, it kind of feels much of a muchness. So I think this will have reasonable matchups across the board. Now, the second team that has been bought by Star Ferret, who went for a slightly different approach. Instead of having lots and lots of very similar teams, Star Ferret kind of has a hybrid team, a bash team, which we'll get to in a sec, and then actual elves. So these elves have come with five dodge looks like, also a thrower for the extra team building cash. Taken as their secondary, they've taken Mighty Blow, and as their stack, they've taken Blodge on a catcher. That means there's only 2 Blodge on this team, but then most of Gimlick's teams have the Tackle Mighty Blow anyway. I think this team might be the one that's struggling to find a place to win a game. Has the double thrower, so is committed to being able to one turn, etc. But yeah, this one Human-like teams typically do well against elves, and Gimlick has brought 3 of them, so this could be a slightly tricky matchup. On the other hand, the bangy team that Starferret has brought is Chaos Renegades. So Renegades got, if I'm not mistaken, they got 2 secondaries, which means that you're going to have a third guy who, you're going to have 2 of your big guys can take block, but then the third big guy you have to decide what you're going to do with. And it looks like Starferret has decided that, and I think it's generally considered the done thing to take only one of the 2 frenzy big guys, because you really want to be blitzing with your frenzy big guy a lot of the time. And so because of that, as a kind of poor man's block for a piece that's going to be blitzing a lot, the Minotaur has been gifted with the skill Juggernaut, which is a fun skill, which will allow to also avoid some of those 1-in-9s. Right. On this team also you got a stack, which this Dark Elf has been given, blessed with Blodge, which is obviously a very good stack. This human lineman here has taken Dirty Player, so potentially some opportunities to step on some of the smaller rosters that Gimlick has brought. Particularly, the nobility might be useful in that matchup, for example. Getting rid of any big guys. It's a bit hard to justify fouling a tree, that kind of thing, but something along those lines could certainly be interesting. Hello, Starferret. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing? Right. So we are almost done now with the go through the team. I have to say, the goblin hiding in the middle here, I don't know why this slightly annoys me. You've rapidly customized their appearance. Should we take a look? Can we see their appearance? Actually, I'm not sure I can. Oh, I can see it on the left. They're red and white. Beautiful. So let's take a look. See if we at the appearance of the various teams. So we've got red and white on Starferret's side here. On all 3 of the teams. I think that's glorious. I like that very much. And then if we look at Gimlick, Gimlick has gone. Oh, I think that's default. So blue on the humans, red and white on the yeah it's just generic. Confirmed. Disappointing. Anyway, so with all of that settled, if the 2 of you are ready to already begin, we can already get started. So what I will need you to do is, if you are not already, is I will need the 2 of you to friend each other, because the easiest way to do this, I thought, was just to run the matches as friendlies. So if you can add each other as friends and then invite the other to a friendly match like that. Gimlick is now your friend. Woo! Okay. Right, and then we're going to go to the live, and we are going to go to the match type friendly match, and we should be able to see it pop up here when you guys start the game. Now I believe the first match, yes, I still need Gimlick to tell me what he wants to play, but I have an answer from Ferret. So I will not reveal what Ferret is playing in the first game until Gimlick has let me know what he will be playing. And it would appear to be Imperial Nobility. Glorious. So, Nobility versus Renegades for our first game. So, a bangy roster against a roster without a whole lot of players. Well, I mean, it's still got 12 players, but it's, I think, the smallest roster that Gimlick has brought today. Albeit that some of the others have bench that is mostly halflings, but, halflings are people too. Halflings are half of people too. We will skip quickly through the inducement phase because neither of you have anything to get, in theory. And Bangmans wins the toss and begins the tournament. So it looks like Yeah, so Star Ferret has won the toss and chosen to receive, presumably to start hitting immediately with as many of his big guys who will bang on as many of the mans as possible. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, 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 bang. Bang on mans. Yeah, we have a little triangle-esque setup here. It's quite difficult to easily get hits on these guard pieces, and the ogre, of course, protects itself by virtue of being an ogre. So it'll be interesting to see what Ferret decides to do for the initial blitz. It does look like some of these big guys are setting up to hit some of these small guys, and the orc with block may be setting up to take one of the hits as well. I see. A plan has been a plan has been laid on the table, and it seems to involve the moo. Eliod would be proud. The moo is coming. Cheering fans, throw a rock. Aha. So, who's had a rock thrown? Throw a rock, throw a rock. That's, remember what that is. Throw a rock. Ah, it's the anti-stalling one. Yes. So, no stalling for Bang's mans. They get caught stalling, will be it. I might get a rock thrown at them on a 5+. Could be deadly. First hit, just a stun. Rolls a 10 on the armor, but not on the injury. So the little retainer lineman is okay. Ferret seems aptly and, obviously terrified by this potential outcome. Goes for the pickup next, but first protects it. So first hit was to free up this liner who was standing here to go and protect the ball, then went to go collect the ball with the Dark Elf. Lovely stuff, can't complain there. Just a 2 dice with the troll. Didn't want to make it 3 because then you block the square where the lino can be pushed into. And this one, thanks to Mighty Blow breaking armor, is a KO, the first removal of the game, first blood, and the justification for taking the first LOS comes through, and followed up rapidly by a head injury on the poor Warren Darkeye, who has just been absolutely slaughtered by an ogre. So that is the bench now done for Gimlick. No more bench. Gonna be hoping to... Oh, doesn't go with the moo cow. The moo cow was sat there, looking on, hopefully, wanting, desperately longing for an opportunity to go and dig his horns into somebody, but Star Ferret thinks better of it, which is probably wise because it might get stuck in the middle of nowhere. We get a foul on the downed bodyguard, and a difficult decision there about whether to take the KO or to invest the Apo. At only turn 1, it's a bit tricky to say you want to use the Apo. There is some advantage to using the Apo, of course, early on a KO that guarantees you, 6 more turns of that player that you wouldn't otherwise have. In comes the Ogre, and Gimlick this is a disastrous start as the Ogre decides that his first action is going to be double skulls. So, after 3 removals on turn 1 for Star Ferret, it then it goes from bad to worse as the Ogre smashes into the dirty player and faceplants into the ground. Yeah, tricky situation indeed for the Swedish Supremo here. And I think of all the places to fall on the ground, it seems to be one of the more dangerous ones. And it also looks like the moo cow is getting a first run out with the blitzing shoes on, just to push into stand firm, which is turned off. Juggernaut. So there is no stand firm. And then uses Juggernaut to turn a both down into a push. So just flexing the Juggernaut skill in two separate ways there. Glorious stuff from Star Ferret. As the vultures gather round his Gimlick's downed ogre, his life flashing before his eyes. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Out comes the foot, and it's a serious injury. This is a catastrophe. And this is why we have best of threes, ladies and gents. Because this is looking a little bit tricky for your friendly pal Gimlick at this juncture. Yeah, it's not even a badly hurt to invest the Apo in. And yeah, this is all done without a bribe. This is just raw DP going absolutely ham. So the ogre has sacrificed his own life by rolling dub skulls and allowing for a massive gang foul as the situation for Gimlick goes from bad to worse. So Gimlick's now sitting here with only 3 guard in this drive. Ferret, of course, has no guard with this build, but he also has multiple strength 5 things. It'll be a fast one, this one. Yeah, it kind of looks like that one. That might be the case. Does manage to work with the guard that he has. A hit on the Minotaur. Minotaur's, of course, AV 9+, so the squishiest of the big guys to going after. But there is no value acquired from the hit in terms of removal. There is value acquired in terms of allowing him to get a hit on a lineman, and that lineman is removed. So, stand up and watch and smell the sulphur brewing, because there is... The gates of hell are open tonight. Oh, actually, I didn't realise this. Ferret started without his Wrestle Rat on the pitch, presumably saving that for the defence. Does invest the Apo. It is badly hurt, which is a guaranteed value Apo. So, yeah, the 5th removal of the game. Only the first one for for Gimlick, as a lineman fails a 4+ dodge and stuns himself. Just this whole game so far has been just nobility things. I mean, like I said, they can be tricky to push through, but also, like, if the dice start going against you, they can be a real pain in the ass. Alright, the hit, at least on the bodyguard, does not result in a knockdown this time. As Star Ferret brings an assist over to the left-hand side to presumably help with the Minotaur, which sort of looks like it might be blitzing. Just putting that out there. Might be a thing that's happening. While the ball moves into the other direction, into a direction where there are not so many Imperial Nobility players. Not that there are many Imperial Nobility players anywhere. This downed lineman, of course, not participating particularly strongly. Just a 1D, just 2D on the first hit. Strength 6, not quite being the Strength 7 that would have allowed for 2 dice, because no assist was given. And does then get the knockdown on the second hit. So there's an interesting moment there. Because Star Ferret pushed into stand firm, the first stand firm cannot activate. Oh my god, as another one dies. Now, to be fair, this is almost certainly the Apo, yeah, and Gimlick invests the Apo immediately. This drive is beyond fucked. Like, you can't play with just no players, right? Like, there's nothing to be done at this point, but at least with the Apo able to save the guard for next drive, and see if he can get something out of it. As the dirty player comes in again and gets another removal. At this point, every removal hurts, because every removal is just another body that Gimlick will not have for the rest of the game. Oof. So, dangerous stuff here for the Imperial Nobility. They're at risk of just being overrun and overwhelmed by the 3 big guys. And this is what Renegades can do, right? You know, they come into a game with 3 Mighty Blow, hoping to just bang you out. This is why Star Ferret has called his team what he's called it. He's hoping to bang on some men's. And It's going so far pretty well. Looks like a 1D from the leader thrower, taking a little bit of a risk, but probably a worthwhile one at this juncture because, you know, what else are you going to do? At some point you just have to press the buttons. Did get a stun on the Renegade lineman and has placed his blodge tackle onto directly in the face of the ball carrying Dark Elf. So now at least Star Ferret has a problem to think about for next turn. The other Blitzer makes a dodge away from the Minotaur and goes to assist his comrade in making life complicated for the ball. The final player to activate is a one dicing bodyguard who was assisted by his friend who had dodged away. Right, so the action continues now. Star Ferret, the two of them are rocketing through these turns. Both of these players are quite fast players, which I appreciate. It means we won't be here all night. As Ferret just chooses to immediately run away from the tackle, believing in the power of the fact that he has 3 team rerolls, I assume, which is, you know, pretty good power. And now has also invests a rush to get into the cage that is built naturally by his team here, and follows this up by going to town with the Minotaur on the thrower. The second time of asking, the 3 dice rolls a push into a POW. So the thrower is fine, so not yet more injuries. It's probably at least one more hit to take. I'd be surprised if this guy ends up taking a hit, and I would be even more surprised if that hit ends up being valuable. But it looks like, at least this time, the damage won't be too bad for Gimlick. I guess once you start running out of players, there's like... when you start running out of players, you lose less players. So Gimlick... so Star Ferret starts starts the end of his turn by running... Oh my god, it's another removal! I spoke too soon. The troll throws up on a bodyguard and removes one of Gimlick's last guard. So there is only a single guard on the pitch, another guard coming back for next drive, and possibly a third if the KO rolls are kind. But this is a catastrophe. This really could not be going worse for poor Gimlick. So Gimlick, sensing the danger he's in, goes for the immediate 5+ dive into uphill on the Dark Owl. I really like this kind of play. When you recognise my position is shit, maybe I can get lucky somehow. So goes for it, doesn't get lucky, does get the dodge in, but despite investing a reroll, doesn't get the full power on the 1D. Needs every player he can get Gimlick, so he will even dodge away this thrower on a 4-3, but the 4-3 doesn't. The 4-3 falls through, and it's left to Star Ferret on his turn 5 to pick up the pieces. Yeah, so this dodge away, by the way, I was trying to say this, but the action's moving so fast, was to provide the assist to this troll, which was why it got rerolled. Ferret now only has 2 rerolls remaining, but one feels that there's not a whole lot more that Gimlick is going to be able to do to make this a difficult drive for Ferret at this point. Invests the Blitz in removing the pressure off the ball that the Blitzer had managed to impart by running at it and diving at it. And now just calmly moves the ball backwards, I suppose, you know. Just be safe. There's no reason to allow anything here. No reason to allow anything at all. It's one of those funny things in games where sometimes it's like all you have to now optimize for is how do I not allow my opponent to get lucky? Like, where are there opportunities to get lucky? how can I minimize those opportunities? And there will always be some kind of play, right? But as the dirty player goes in for another foul on a bodyguard, and this time, oh my god! Finally, rolls a snake on the injury. Looks like he's going to be sent off. But Argue the Call, Argue the Call comes through just to make sure that, that everyone knows that this is indeed a dicing. Just in case it wasn't entirely clear. Oh my god. And so 7 players have been removed versus 1. Looks like Gimlick is again trying to run a gauntlet to hit the ball. This one is a much trickier gauntlet though, and the tackle blodge blitzer, the pride and joy of the Imperial Nobility team, has fallen to the ground after failing and using the dodge skill, and then failing and investing a reroll, and then failing again. So taking a reroll on his way out as he KOs himself on the ground. Star Ferret does indeed roll the clicky clacky cubes. Good. One of the most brutal demonstrations of dice over good play one could ever want to see. No, that's not fair. I mean, it's not like Ferret has done anything wrong. It's just he hasn't had to do anything. He's just, everything has come up Millhouse. And by Millhouse, I mean Star Ferret. The Ogre Boneheads choosing not to participate for the first time this game, as it tried to attack the remaining blitzer, but not to worry as Star Ferret follows up by blitzing with the Minotaur, taking good use of the Juggernaut on the blitz. A second big guy decides not to participate in this action, as it looks like Ferret is gearing up for yet another foul. It is another armor break. It is another removal. There are no more blitzers on the field for the nobility. And I have said often in my own streams how incredibly swingy I feel Dirty Player is. This game might just be the highest of high rolls that I have ever seen for just a raw Dirty Player, as Gimlick gamely attempts to go for the ball again. One suspects that this may be the last time that Gimlick is able to go for the ball, as the ball runs away. And yeah, there are no standing nobility players at the start of this turn, but I do not know if that will prevent them from taking damage, as there is a boot with a face. This one is lost, says Gimlick. What makes you say that? As Star Ferret gathers around one of the 2 nobility players to go for a +7 gang foul with Dirty Player. The Toxic wind up for the foul, gets the armor break, which was guaranteed, and does not get the removal. Throw the rock and kill the elf. Oh, Gimlick! Gimlick! Playing to his every out. The rock that Ferret mocked at the start of this drive does unfortunately not come to fruition, as it comes to a 2+. Oh, almost punished for his hubris. That would have been an extremely funny way for that drive to have ended. Alright, so big set of KO rolls now for Gimlick. Not that it maybe matters that much, but 6 players versus the 11 of Star Ferret. The guard blitzer does stay out, so just the 2 guard left. You may or may not have forgotten about the rock, yeah. And Ferret has decided to load the line, which, you know, or at least maybe is thinking about it. With the big guys, at least, they are going to be pretty difficult to bring down with the Ogre out and only 2 guard in play. I think 2 guard is enough, technically. But it will require, like, your entire team just to hit one of them. And presumably one of your players needs to go collect the ball. So big difficulties here for Gimlik as we move into... well, I suppose not collect the ball because we're turn 8. But... as we move into the LOS for Ferret, for Gimlik to try and get something back. Now, there are a few ways you could play this drive, and it looks like, you know, you're probably not going to get a 1 turn. You could play just to hit these big AV9 plus things and try and get a removal, but, you know, both the Troll and this guy have some difficulties getting hits on them. And the Orc, you know, he's still 9 plus, 10 plus, and if he dies, it's kind of not the end of the world either. Oh my god. So, this guy was set up here with the clear and obvious intention of setting up for a riot. But instead of a riot, we have an extra turn just for, just for the Renegades, because this game wasn't enough of a dicing. So we need to add a little riot action in there, just to make sure everyone knows their place in this game. And in the case of Gimlik, that place is apparently punching bag. So in comes a whole bunch of lads for Star Ferret. Interesting. It's going for the high value target rather than the 3 dice. Just some, yeah, icing on the cake. Gets the stun, gets the KO, gets the KO. Of course he does. So another nobility player leaves the ranks of the living. Oh dear. And of course, with the ability to move extra players, it's now very difficult for Gimlik to even take any hits. But that is one way. Gimlik gamely dodges out a guard, takes a hit on an Orc. Gets an armor break, kills the Orc. Well, there you go. Maybe it's not over after all. I mean, there is 2 bench for the Renegade still, so, you know, not exactly biggest loss, but I guess this Orc has now been downgraded to a human lineman and goes with another dodge to take another punch. The blitz for this turn being the final human lineman on the line, but just a push. And you know what's funny is, given the amount of hits Gimlik has taken, he's probably had an above average number of removals on Ferret with the 2 badly hurts. It's just that these dice have been so absurd that it doesn't matter. Oh my god. Right, so now we are in the second drive proper. I'm going to quickly put on the kettle. I will be right back. Versus 5, yeah, friend. Exciting. Right. There's something I quickly want to do as well, which is advertise using my wonderful friends here by putting you in the stream title. There really is just like nothing going well for Gimlik. As Gimlik set up to presumably try and score relatively quickly on the left flank, despite the fact that he has no blitzers because the Blodge tackle blitzer chose not to come back from KO. And has been rewarded, or rather punished, with a solid defense for the Renegades, who are now going to be able to crush all of their big guys into the 4 players that Gimlick has placed on the line of scrimmage and just make life exceedingly difficult. On top of that, the kick is about as bad as it could possibly get, almost right at the back of the pitch. It's really just like nothing is going Gimlick's way right now. It is truly remarkable. So Gimlick still starts off with a pick-up on the thrower, which is successful. So, you know, something. And then takes a 1 dice thanks to the 2 guard on the Ogre. So, not bad. Pushes the Ogre away. Doesn't get the power and kill that might have been necessary in order to put himself in a better position, but hey ho. Moves over the bodyguard with guard, repositions to try and get a hit on this renegade human lineman, but because everything is going badly, the retainer decides that he's going to 1 in 9 into dub skulls and knock himself over on the block. Why not? I mean, at some point you'd think the shit dice will stop coming, but no, a 1 in 81 just to really make things, you know, properly shit. So, unfortunately, Gimlick now loses his LOS and is going to be punched in return by the Renegades. At least not by the Ogre, though, who is busy doing things. I'm sorry, Gimlick. I didn't expect it to go like this. Apologies, everyone. I am back as the troll lands a double pow on the bodyguard, but no armor break this time, so thank goodness for small mercies. And a renegade lineman turns over with a 1 in 9, which Gimlick chooses not to wrestle. And so it is a proper turnover. There is a little bit of pressure coming in the form of a single line rat with wrestle walking towards the back of the pitch, and a lineman here who is ready to make hay if the situation is enabled. Now, it's really difficult to know what to do when you're in a situation like this as Gimlick. The answer is there is no good options because you simply don't have the players, right? Like, when you are... This is one of the things about Blood Bowl, is when you are outnumbered, you almost just straight up cannot do anything. Right? Like, you're at least outnumbered to this extent. If you're like 9v10 or something, then sure. But yeah, with the pressure that Star Ferret had brought, it looks like Gimlick feels it enough to bring the ball carrier up, and dub skulls from the rat, but re-rolled into a POW. So not a particularly consequential dub skulls, but at least it eats a re-roll. But yeah, at this point, the position is going to be hard to recover from, one would imagine. Yep. The Minotaur does not move. Was trying to move on a 4+, but rolled a 1 anyway, so there was actually no way it was moving regardless. The second big guy also choosing not to participate in this particular action. The troll rolling a 1 on a really stupid. The Dark Elf comes over to mark the ball, actually goes for the rush pickup instead. Which now poses another problem for Gimlick of how the heck do you get the ball off this guy when you can't even get a 1D on him, most likely. Now the lineman here takes the hit on this bodyguard, knocks him down, no armor break though, still alive, fends away another hit from another lineman. And it's just the ogre left to activate, who manages nary but a push, which will also be fended away. So 2 linemen freed up for Gimlick, which maybe he can find something to do with those 2 players. We'll certainly have to find something slightly magical this turn. By magical, I mean like literally like time travel. That might be his best shot of winning this game, is to travel backwards in time to when Starferret killed everything and not have everything die. A little jump away from one of the bodyguards, now comes in for the uphill on Rackle. Doesn't get it, rolls one of the dice he needs, but the other is just a push. At least it's not a skull. Will presumably be following in. Has to continue to try and make some problems for Starferret to deal with. So we'll see what Ferret does now. Ferret comes in with the troll. Puts a little pressure on 2 of the remaining standing Imperial Nobility players. I'm just wondering whether I need to change the kits here. Let me know if you're watching, if you find the kits easy to understand or not for this one. I know we're quite a long way in, but it's with so few nobility left, it's getting harder to pick them out. And rather than engaging in any tomfoolery or shenanigans with the Wrestle Bodyguard, just dodges away and does not roll the 2+. So Ferret, and also takes the extra step so that any dodges they'll have to be an extra dodge. You don't just get to dodge here and hit, you have to dodge here and then dodge here to hit. A reasonable optimization, probably not important at this point, but you know, might as well. And then blitzes the remaining bodyguard. I suppose it's not the remaining one because there's one here too. On 3 dice, thanks to the assist from the rat. And pushes him away with Juggernaut, finds the power on the second hit. Which is just a pow, nothing special. Before moving away the Wrestle Rat, who's been freed up by this action, leaving just the dirty player and this guy here. Dirty player fails to dodge off, and yeah, it's going to be eaten as Starferret, with murder on his mind, takes delight in the suffering of others, just wants to remove yet another player with dirty player. I mean, it's been almost like 4 turns since he removed a player with dirty player, so we wouldn't want to miss out on that now, would we? So tracks around the back for Gimlick here, who has managed to find yet another 1 in 9 as he pushes into the human lineman behind, gets an armor break and a KO, so not bad. The sort of thing that maybe needs to happen for Gimlick to have any shot in this game, which of course he does not really have any shots regardless, but we have to keep the kayfabe, whatever it's called, going. Just launches directly into a block on a bodyguard and kills it, because of course he does. So now, with 1 bodyguard stunned over on the sideline and the other 3 bodyguards all out of the pitch, there is no guard available for Gimlick at all next turn. genuinely remarkable. This is like, I know nobility explodes sometimes, but this is the worst explosion I've ever seen a nobility team suffer. And I know that it's mighty blow and you know it's dirty player and etc etc, but even so, this is rough. As another stun on a lineman comes in from the troll 3 dice. The blitz from the ogre not successful. Boneheads. As Star Ferret moves in to foul another bodyguard. Just to stun this time, gets caught again. Rolling a 4 on the armor dice, and a no argue the call will save him from his sins on this occasion. This player who could have been off the pitch so many turns ago has finally met his maker. His maker being Star Ferret, arguably. Oof. As we move through the emotions of the waning seconds of this game, Gimlick takes desultory 2 dice against a lineman. I assume that a ferret will be moving up the pitch this turn, although he kind of doesn't have to. He almost could just do whatever he wanted at this point, and there would be most no way for Gimlick to do anything. I think Star Ferret could almost go AFK, and Gimlick would actually find it quite a hard score from this position with no rerolls, with the position of his players, and with the position of the ball going into that turn. So yeah, I think okay, now with the cage moving as well, it should be pretty much settled. I guess we're going to see a blitz with the ogre, maybe? Looks like. Could be. It's a potential thing. Yep, the ogre comes in. Just a push. So no value from the blitz there. Keeps the thrower tied up. And wanders the ogre around to act as the assist, which makes sense. Double pals on the reattempt it hit with a lineman, but no armor break. So 4 nobility, all on the floor. I would not blame Gimlick if he did not stand up here. But Gimlick has heart, and Gimlick will not surrender. And Gimlick stands up his players, goes for the cage dive, but does not succeed. Alright. It looks like a 3 dice is about to be taken on this remaining bodyguard who dodged away at the start of the last turn, who is laid on the ground. So that means now 0 players for nobility are standing up again. As the Minotaur comes in for a foul and gets caught. I mean, hello, Connie. I will say that I haven't asked anyone to do comms yet, but I have intended to ask. I'm intending to ask people to do comms for future to jump in the stream for future editions. It's just because this was the first one. I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to go. I didn't want to have another person as well who I had to worry about. Not worry about, but, you know, like, think about what they wanted to do. You just wanted to beat on Ferret. Well, unfortunately, Ferret is the one beating on other people right now, as the exact content of Gimlick's Graveyard will tell you. Move on to turn 16. The game is now officially over because Gimlick does not have a scoring threat. I think it was actually over last turn, as no one could even get in range. Pushes away the retainer lineman, who presumably will fend. Alright, and as we wrap this game up, move into the second game, can you both please tell me what teams you will be taking in the next one? Time griefing. I believe Gimlick was typing a message in my chat. I think that was what was going on. As it looks like Ferret is lusting for that full pitch clear. Goes in with Mighty Blow again, gets a KO on the thrower. 3 dice with the Ogre on the remaining bodyguard again, who is fine. What now? Looks like a punch on the last standing player for the Imperial Nobility, who is okay. And just the ball carrier left to activate on turn 15. Ban Ferret, yeah. I mean, as he steps on the bodyguard and successfully removes every single guard piece on Ferret's on Gimlick's team. A little bit of standy uppy getty spaghetti from the retainer lineman, and the brave and my 5-4-2-2 pow from the last retainer lineman. The hero play restricting Ferret to the 1-0 potentially. What a hero! The 5-4-2-2-6. Unfortunately for Gimlick, Ferret is 1-0 up, so it doesn't matter. But a great moment anyway. I enjoyed that immensely. As the pesky retainer lineman is pushed out of the way by a wrestle rat. Actually, wrestled to the ground by a wrestle rat. I think it might be about to get punished for its hubris. No, Ferret picks up the ball and does 2 rushes. Oof. One hopes that the greed, the arrogance, will come to get this foul challenger in the next game. But the first point goes to Star Ferret, who picks up the win in the Renegades versus Imperial Nobility match. And yes, on to the next game. If you would be so kind as to tell me what you will be playing in this matchup. I was thinking you should, if you tell me by private message, then there's no way either of you can counter team each other. But it's not a huge deal because I don't suspect either of you will be doing that anyway. So let us update the scoreline. This one has forgotten, it never happened. Indeed, Gimlick with the winner's mindset there. The mindset of a person who is ready for another game. Let's go and look at our friendlies, waiting for this one to start. You like the helmets that are in the overlay? Yeah, thank you. I drew them myself. I also drew this, and this will cut off my talking while I do this. This was my waiting for things to start screen. So yes, that was that, and both of you have sent me. You thought it was a penis? Yeah, fair. Under 40 minutes. Yeah, that was a rapid one. All right, both of you have sent me your teams. Looks like Gimlick is now going to be bringing out the Old World Alliance, while Star Ferret has opted for Pro Elves. So this will be an interesting one. Pro Elves versus Old World Alliance. From the banger to the bangee, potentially, for Mr. Ferret here. So when you are ready, you can begin the next game by starting the friendly. And then we'll go watch. All right. Oh, you do have Mighty Blow still. It's true. Ferret went with a build we can quickly have a look while we're waiting. Went with a build that has Mighty Blow on his his elves because, you know, certified banger lad. As the game has now started. But yeah, one would expect that the team that will deal more damage in this game would be the Old World Alliance in general. Elven Union, not in particular known for their damage dealing capability. Sorry, Old World Alliance. Elven Union, not known for their damage dealing capabilities, even with a Mighty Blow, but they are known for their damage taking capabilities. That's what I was trying to say. My time to bang on Ferret. Yes, yes. Blood, death, destruction. Rip them to shreds. Make them suffer. Glorious stuff. So, once again, the Bangi team has won the toss and chosen to receive. The last time it was Ferret who managed to remove 3 players on turn 1. Can Gimlick return the favour? Or will Ferret be a little bit luckier than his Swedish opponent? Oh, I'm looking forward to Ferret getting bashed in. That's going to be fun, hopefully. So Ferret leaving 1 thrower on the bench, giving himself options for the 1 turn. Gimlick now setting up as we go into what could be the decisive game, or which could leave us with a final matchup of Star Ferret's own Old World Alliance against Gimlick's humans, which is probably the most sort of, I don't know if it's the most balanced matchup we have tonight, but it's the most balanced matchup in terms of like play styles, where both of them are pretty much a hybrid team there. But yeah, we've had Bash versus hybrid. I consider Old World Knobs hybrid, I think. And now we've got, of course, it never rains but it pours as Gimlick gets hit with the Officious Ref, which stuns his tackle Mighty Blow on turn 1. Why not? And the Troll Slayer opens the game with a dub skulls. This is unreal. As Gimlick stares at the dice and wonders whether to re-roll, I don't know what you do in this circumstance. It's a tricky spot. Chooses to keep the re-roll, doesn't want to risk the 3+ loner. And in fact, the next dice was a 1, so it would have been a failure. But not a great start for Gimlick again in this game. But at least this isn't the kind of start that just ends the game. So Gimlick gets to continue playing, unlike last game, even if there will be a lot of pressure coming into the ball after that start. Now, the one thing that Gimlick does have going in his favour, of course, is that he was able to collect the ball. So with the catch from the scatter, that's often a very big thing in these sorts of situations where you've got a lot of pressure coming onto you. If you already have the ball on the player, you don't have to sweat the 3+, and you're not sort of stuck in 2 minds between protecting the place where the ball currently is, like let's say the ball was here, or here or whatever, and protecting the place where the ball wants to go. As Star Ferret comes in for a 3 dice on the human catcher with Blodge, does not get it. Had to invest a couple of 2+ to reach with the dodge and rush, but just a push as the outcome. As 5 elves have joined the party in the backfield, a 6th elf is sitting on the lineman on the line of scrimmage, threatening with Blodge Step with his sneaky Elven Union blitzer ways, as 2 of the elves that were on the line of scrimmage and were there to be hit have dodged away. And the final elf to be moved is this one here. No, that's not true. There's a thrower as well. So Star Ferret kind of hedging his bets. On the one hand, sets up a little bit of a screen. On the other hand, also sends some players to the backfield to go and do things. Now, of course, the one thing that has happened here is that this guy has unstunned. So there is now an opportunity for some of these, which are some of the more valuable players on Ferret's team, to potentially get punched by Tackle Mighty. As Gimlick is setting up a wall of guard around his thrower, trying to protect, presumably against all your players are valuable. And indeed, that's what we see. We see the blitz on the dodge catcher, gets the full POW, and an armor break, which results in just a stun. But, you know, a stun is a start, and it's a better turn already for Gimlick than the turn he had on turn 1. Secures the ball, brings the Tackle Mighty Blow to base up the dodge blitzer, while also taking the 2D, investing one of his dwarves to go and help his lineman on the line of scrimmage, was based up by the Blodstep blitzer, to take the dice, which gives him the full POW. Can't complain about a full POW. Final action of the turn, dodges off the catcher, who was stuck on Mighty Blow. So now the elves are sort of... they've got a choice to make about how they want to play this drive. Like, as Star Ferret moves players immediately. Both of these guys are so fast. Like, if this were fucking Andy Davo, there would not be a player moved until the fucking 30-second mark. And so it's very difficult to play-by-play this. As Gimlick brings 2 assists and goes for the 3 dice with Mighty Blow against the catcher again. Sorry, Star Ferret goes for that. And again, just a push as the result. The catcher so far not being brought down by the treacherous and most pugilistic of players on Gimlick's side. So as I was saying, sort of Ferret kind of has a choice here about how to play the drive, whether he's going to Ferret sort of pressure on, like base up, like give away hits but try and sort of manufacture something, or whether he's going to try and bring his players back and get in the way and sort of delay and play almost like Dark Elves. And it seems that the option that Star Ferret has gone with is full bang, as he jumps in and seriously hurts the Tackle Mighty Blow on a foul, which he had to rush to reach. Now this is tricky stuff for Gimlick, who goes for the Apo this time, didn't last time, and the Apo fails. So terrible news for Gimlick, as his most important player in the matchup has been removed. And Star Ferret just continues to bang on men's. There are no men's upon which this banging shall cease. And so now actually outnumbers the Old World Alliance on the pitch. So tricky stuff. Yeah, I saw this and I wondered whether Gimlick was going to go for it. There is a surf on this thrower here. And this thrower has the leader skill. So this is a valuable player to get rid of, and it will be definitely gotten rid of. It might not be gotten rid of permanently, but it's certainly gone for the drive. So that is and it's actually a seriously hurt as well. So something there for Gimlick. The seriously hurt, meaning 2 rerolls have just died for Star Ferret. Now, the next minor inconvenience for Gimlick is the fact that the ball is currently exposed, but I'm sure things can be done to rectify this situation. As some of the players move backwards. Takes a hit against a catcher, freeing up the guard blocker. It's an interesting... I'm not entirely sure what Gimlick's plan is from here. It's one of those where I'm like, I wonder what he's cooking. Because there's at least two problems in this position, and it's hard to deal with both of them. Yeah, has to dodge out the catcher. So gets the catcher out, and now it's like quite hard to get into the ball for Ferret. Eats a skull on a 1 dice with the blocker. Of course, Old World Alliance blockers do not have block in this edition, so but they do have brawler. So it was a little bit of an interesting position here. Other thing about this removal for Gimlick is that's the entirety of the bench. So there's no more bench for Star Ferret. So anything that is removed and sticks is a player down. Which is presumably why Ferret chose to take them for this game and not bring the elves into the overtime match that could potentially happen in game 3, which I think is a pretty sensible strategy, right? Like, if you want to bring elves, yeah, absolutely. That was part of the reason I didn't want it all to be overtime, was so that elves would not be disadvantaged by having to deal with the overtime format. But this way we ensure that there is at least always a result by having overtime split the teams and kicks potentially. Okay, so this was the question I was asking myself, was whether we would see the uphill counter surf or the 1 dice counter surf on this Troll Slayer. But that has not been the choice of Star Ferret on this occasion. Instead, just blitzing with Mighty Blow, getting a stun on a pretty relevant human lineman. And with this blitzer here, cutting off access to this side of the pitch with no tackle Mighty to deal with the problem. Gimlick's in kind of an awkward position this turn. Going to have to do some work in extricating the ball from what is a potentially precarious position, and that has not helped at all, as the Ogre decides this is the turn where he's not going to do anything. Maybe didn't decide it, maybe it just kind of happened to him, you know. I sympathise. Bad things just kind of happen to me sometimes as well. So now there's some problems. For sure there are some problems. Interesting to see how Gimlick will play the end of this turn. Yeah, between this stun and this bonehead and the fact that there's just like a trio of players stuck here, it's not obvious, it's not trivial to find a safe path here. And in fact, the path that Gimlick has gone for is to hand off to his Blodge catcher. Take a hit on the Blodge stepper, which is just a push. The Blodge stepper moves up, staying connected to both of the still active players. Yeah. And we are in potato territory. They call this potato country down here. It's where the potatoes are grown, isn't it? Relying on Blodge. Can Blodge save poor Gimlick from going down in the second game as well to a pretty terrifying position? I mean, obviously this is not the situation you like to be in, but there are a lot of players who you're watching them play and they play against their opponent. Their opponent does something like what Gimlick just did, where they give the ball to the player and hope like hell. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out this time, right? And it's obviously not a good play. But the point was there was no good plays on the table that turn. At a certain point, you just kind of have to make the best of a bad situation, which is something that I really admire in Gimlick's play. I've always liked the way that, you know, things can look bad, but he will try and find a way to make it work. Now, this is about to get extremely complicated for the Old World Alliance, as the Elven Union have sacked the ball and have picked up the ball and are looking to walk away with the ball. And probably screen the ball and probably go 1-0 up on the drive. So things could be getting very hairy very quickly. A couple of hits on dwarves to be taken now, potentially, or dodges to be taken instead. Goes for the dodges. Needed to do that dodge. There was a lineman here who could have reached the ball. Yeah, don't know what the plan is now. I mean, I think step one is you just got to kind of regroup, haven't you? Like, you've got to say, okay, that was bad. Now what? Okay. Chooses to leave a couple of elves based, presumably just to keep things tied up as much as possible. This is an interesting one because it probably looks less safe than it actually is. This player here, because it's not actually easy to make anything happen on that player. So instead it goes for a hit with grab. Grab is great because grab counters sidestep. You see? Look at the counterplay here. Uses Brawler to avoid having to use a reroll on the 1 in 9. So all parts of the Old World Alliance Dwarf Pie were used there. Brawler and... No, wait, sorry, they don't have grab, do they? What am I talking about? What am I thinking of? Ooh, no! Are you kidding? So I went for the slightly greedy rush hit on the... but I think perfectly justified. Rush hit with the Ogre on the catcher, but rolls a 1 on the GFI. Tempts to invest the reroll, but although he gets a 6 on the loner itself, the rush itself is effectively a snake. Unfortunate. For some reason I thought these guys had grab. It's Black Orcs that have grab. It's Black Orcs that have grab. I remember now. I've played this game before. And now the ball just immediately runs as far and as fast away as it possibly can. With the Ogre having... Gimlick's Ogres, man. So the Ogre in the previous game face planted on turn 1 and got fouled off the pitch on turn 2. This Ogre has just effectively thrown the game. And Gimlick now looking in enormous amounts of trouble as he's trying to get back into this series. Because he kind of needs a win, right? Like, it's a draw does not allow him to continue. So he must win this game, and it's very difficult to win a game where you go 1-0 down on your offense. Very, very difficult. Like, I think that's obvious. But, like... okay, so... One small piece of circumstantial dice working for Gimlick here is the last hit against the lineman is a dub skulls, which leaves an extra player based for Gimlick to hit, which is very important because I think, you know, if you're going to get back in this game, it's probably going to be by removing a couple of players. Which was why I didn't hate the Ogre hit there, right? Like, the Ogre blitz made sense if you're thinking to yourself, how am I going to win this game? So, attempts to stand up the Ogre. The Ogre is having a nightmare. Apparently it wasn't just one Ogre that was going to be a problem for Gimlick today as he fails another rush. The rush is rerolled successfully this time. It was all of Gimlick's Ogres. Gimlick has apparently pissed off the association of assorted ogre kind. Does get a power now on the catcher. Catcher is okay. Allowing him to push a little bit further forwards with his blitzer and push a leader thrower down to begin harassing the cage and maybe see if he can make something happen. At the very least, force Ferret to do something. A 1 dice push on the Blodge Stepper is the final action of the turn. So, what will Ferret do now? Ferret, obviously in a very dominant position, kind of just has to, like, I don't know, find a way to keep things together. You are an ogre coach, you know how to handle them. Uh-huh. Clearly. Oh, yo. And, yeah, so just runs the ball away for now. Seems like a sensible start to the turn. Brings a player over to act as an assist, potentially to punching this old world dwarf blocker. Takes the hit on the dwarf blocker. Gets the full power because they don't have block, despite the name, despite the fact that they're dwarves. 1 on the dodge. It's not a snake, so okay there. And a blitz with Mighty Blow on the leader. Well, we see both leaders removed. So that is one... Oh my god, we do. Oh boy, that's brutal. So, yeah, now back to a head on the pitch for the elves, as the Old World Alliance loses another player. Yeah, Gimlick, I mean, I don't know how this has been quite so rough. Genuinely, this is kind of incredible. Dodges away with the catcher. Just a 1 into a 2, so no snake there. And the Old World Alliance are all exactly the wrong side of the pitch. This is just insane. This is ridiculous. One of the most lopsided series of Blood Bowl I've ever seen in terms of dice. Like, you'd think that they would even out over the course of 2 games, but there's really been nothing for Gimlick at all. Nothing. Like, 1 removal on a good player this drive. That's it. Meanwhile, everything goes bang, bang, bang. Alright, so we're still trying. Brings the Old World Dwarf Blitzer in, gets a POW on a lineman. Of course, any removal is still relevant if he can get one, because it's still a player that will not be participating in the next drive. And, you know, you've got to get something going. And so, in fact, does choose to run back and foul a lineman, but only for a stun. But at least not caught, so there's something still in play for Gimlick there. The player does not leave the pitch and bases up a whole bunch of elves, because I think you might as well at this point. And now invite Star Ferret to decide what to do this turn. Because, yeah, it's turn 7, so you would be giving away a 1 turn if you scored now. As Mighty Blow, Gimlick says, breaks armor every time. Just an insane set of circumstances and dice coming out here. Hides the ball away in a corner. And dodges out 1 last blitzer to finish the job. Meanwhile, looks like they're going to try and hit this guard dwarf blocker, as every elf is able to dodge successfully. Just a push on the dwarf blocker. Does not follow. Never mind. Yeah, so tricky scenes again for Gimlick. Unclear what his plan is here. Throws a guard in. Now, I was looking at this, but this doesn't work. So, for reasons that are obvious, if you're not an idiot like me, And the reason that is obvious is this thing has sidestep. So this would have been the wrong angle, but I'm pretty sure that's not the point. The point was not to put it in the right angle. The point was just to hit the most important player on the team. Doesn't get the removal, doesn't get the knockdown. But also there was an outcome where it gets sucked to the side of the pitch, and then maybe Ferret thinks about a surf. Or one last foul for the road, just to stun. And sent off as well. Oi! Can he get an Anargue the call? Gimlick, Star Ferret had one in the first game, and Gimlick gets one in the second game. So that's something, I suppose. Obviously, the fouling so far has not been on the same level for Gimlick as it has been for Star Ferret. But there you go. So now, we move into the Pro Elves drive. We'll flip ourselves around. As Gimlick sets up his defenses as he tries to work out how he's going to get back into this match from here. Racking his brains for anything, because this is going to be tough. This is going to be really tricky from here. I mean, clearly, obviously, like, this is not the position that anyone dreams of, right? Is indeed forced to bring a halfling onto the pitch on the basis that, well, doesn't have anyone else. But at least it's a player. It's a warm body. It can foul, maybe. It can be thrown. Things that halflings can do. And it's all entirely possible. You know, Ferret is missing one of his rerolls for this drive, so is Gimlick, of course, but low reroll Blood Bowl is, of course, more volatile, so there's something that could happen. Good things could happen. We'll have to see. Sorry. All the bad dice is left for Ferret. Yes. That's the spirit. As we get a very deep kick. This could be either a good thing or, like, if, you know. So, alright, sorry. Start again. Gimlick is set up with chevrons, trying to avoid the quick score from Star Ferret here. And one way that could be allowed to happen is if this ball scatters out, which it doesn't, then there would be a potential to hand off to one of these players and then look to move through with the quick snap, allowing for this hit and easy access. However, with the ball being super deep, the quick score is now a lot more tricky. It gives Gimlick a little bit of time to try and move up the pitch and maybe make something happen here. And Star Ferret immediately starts with a 1, but not a consequential one, as the dodge skill avoids the use of a reroll on dodging away, which is why, of course, we give these players dodge. A catcher moves backwards, probably good news for Gimlick there. You want to see the catchers going towards the elf's end zone, typically, when you are in this position. Of course, I mean, the elves could also just kind of Daka here, I suppose. But, I mean, I don't know. The thing about Dakaing is, like, the fail state is more catastrophic, which is kind of the problem. What you really want to avoid, most of all, is conceding and conceding quickly, right? Like, that's step 1. So we'll see how Ferret wants to play this. Doesn't look like a Daka anyway. It looks like we're fighting the Old World Alliance, which would track because Star Ferret has never seen a fight he didn't want to take. Does knock over a human blitzer here. Goes for the hit on the halfling. No value there, just a push. But does continue to move forwards with the mighty blow. Not running back to the safety of his lines. So lots to do on the table now. So this is now crunch time, right? Things must work for Gimlick at this point. Gimlick can't afford things to go badly. If they go badly, it probably is just GG. Probably just game. So needs a little bit of luck. Needs probably a lot of luck, to be fair. And needs a lot of skill. Comes in with the Mighty Blow Troll Slayer. Sorry, no, not Mighty Blow. Precisely not Mighty Blow. Does get the knockdown. Would have had 2 shots at the knockdown. Brings a couple players round. You know what I smell? Napalm. No, I smell a foul. And apologies, by the way. I wasn't sure if you guys would be in chat with me while I was commentating. So I wasn't sure, like, how much it bothers you if I say things that might be, like, interpreted as advice or whatever. Because I'm trying very hard not to do that, but also still keep the commentary interesting. So let me know if you think I've crossed the mark at any point. But the intention is not to. Alright, gets the stun. So not a removal, but the Mighty Blow is out of commission for a turn. Also manages to base up at least 5 elves without dodge. 4 elves without dodge, which is good. 1 with dodge. So the chances of things going wrong are there for the Elven Union as they look to move across to the right. Takes a hit with a dodge piece on the blitz. The blodge piece, in fact, sorry. Doesn't get the power, but does get the power with the follow-up hit. So now a threat has been... This is kind of like the traditional like way you play an offense, where you sort of poke over here, and then they react to this poke, and so you poke over here, and they react to this poke, so you sort of... but some of the players get sort of left behind or stuck or whatever, so you sort of find maybe there's now a gap here, and then you look and you poke and you prod until the pieces of the defense kind of just get pulled apart and you have a way through. That's the idea anyway. Does 1 in 9 there, so that's half of Staleferret's rerolls gone. This is what I meant a little bit with the leaders being gone. It becomes more volatile. It's looking like a handoff action from Staleferret, handing off immediately to this catcher. I think this catcher is running away over here, where it's going to be quite tricky to track down. It is now in scoring range and a threat, so yeah. This was one of the things I was looking at, actually, was on the last turn. This guy doesn't have good passing, but I thought he could have handed off to the thrower if necessary. But this is even better, where you don't even have to worry about handing off to the thrower, because you're just straight up making a almost lethal threat over here, because you are okay with the draw as Staleferret, like, so this is dangerous. This is like bloody dangerous. Alright, and now Gimlick's got to find a way to make this not just completely free, which is not easy. So, yeah, this was one of the 2 paths I thought might be taken, where you can free up this guy and you can go for the cage dive, potentially. Or whatever, like, I don't know. Or you can like try and blitz the front of the cage, get in the way, but it's going to be tricky regardless. The other option I thought you might go with the ogre is running him back to throw the halfling over here, which sounds kind of terrible, but maybe could have done something, you know? I'm not sure which is better odds for achieving something. And the upside of throwing the halfling is that even if you don't necessarily get the good blitz, so in fact it's actually rushing to hit the front of the cage here rather than going for some kind of ridiculous cage dive, which I think is reasonable as well. Probably none of these plays are really good enough to stop the elves from having a good shot at scoring, but this is one option for sure. This is one option that might do something. So yeah, does and gets the 4-3 out as well. So that 4-3 is actually kind of big, because now these two players in conjunction with this one, which is this is a really classy move, by the way, bringing this player over here so that if he gets this 4-3 dodge out, which I presume was not going to be re-rolled, he has this screen, which is now difficult to use here. Now it's far from perfect. Like, there's still a million ways to probably solve this, and this is one of them. Brings 2 assists, has to be 2 because of the ogre, to push this guy out of the way, and then blitzing with the what's he called? This guy, Blitzer. The other option I was thinking you can do, you have a square of lateral movement to Star Ferret here, so you could do the 2+ dodge through here if you weren't able to, unable to remove the guy out of the way. But obviously not necessary if you do move the guy out of the way. So now Gimlick somehow has to score 3, which I don't know. That's going to be fucking hard. That is going to be hard work. The problem is just, like, physically you need turns to move down the pitch, right? Like, how many touchdowns can you score in 6 turns? Best case scenario. It's almost like you need a touchdown every 2 turns, right? Like, it's almost to that degree. So what do? There's options, like, there's things you can try here. But yeah, none of them are great options. And the problem is that he just hasn't done the damage either. Like, there's been a lot of hits on elves in this second drive, the first drive, that haven't quite panned out, or, you know, haven't got the removals. And yeah, frankly, this guy, the foul that killed this guy was so brutal. And yeah, I think I know what option is being played for by Gimlick here. It's a reasonable option. I think you have to try for it. In fact, there's almost an argument that as the elves... Oh my god. Are you shitting me? Well, that's really bad for Gimlick, but it's not game over. It does, however, rather force your hand on this turn. 1 in 9s are okay with that player. 1 in 9s are in fact just knockdowns. But only a push on the second 75% hit. There's another hit they could take first. Yeah, it looks like they're making it 3 dice. Possibly. Yeah. So this is a classy play as well. I like this. There's no reason not to make this a 3 dice, because your entire game plan here, like, the match position is such. So I suppose the only reason not to make it 3 dice is that you might want to blitz something. But yeah, this is exactly what you had to do, which is you have to go for the 1 turn with the halfling here, right? Like, that is the only play. Literally the only play. So, because of the timeout, like, if you had 2 turns, you could justify maybe trying to 2 turn or something. But not here. You just have to 1 turn. Bonehead success. That's step 1. That is a successful throw, teammate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So not a successful landing, and also too far away. I think... Yeah. And the problem was, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You weren't getting out of range of the elf players either. And now I really hesitate to call things 4 turns before the end, but I think that might be it. Like, I don't think there is any universe in which Gimlick can now win this game. Which means there is no universe in which Gimlick can now tie this game. There are... Okay, so it is physically possible if, like, somehow you... No, I don't think so. I'm trying to think, like... Yeah, let's say you manage to turn them over, score turn 14. You get a blitz, reverse 1 turn with the halfling turn 15, blitz, reverse 1 turn with the halfling turn 16 or something. I'm struggling. I think it's pretty much over. Yeah, exactly, Gimlick. So there's not a whole lot left to play with, and this was a bit of an unfortunate series. Goes for the foul on the fling, no dice. Also not caught though. The fling proving a resilient fellow, surviving 2 hits in as many turns. And of course Gimlick is also now out of rerolls, which, you know, complicates matters. Even if the situation weren't already complicated enough. Just going to be taking some desultory punches on random players at this juncture. There's not a whole lot else to do. I mean, technically you can hit the ball if you're prepared to roll the worst dice in the universe. But, yeah, it's not clear what else there even is. I mean, these dice are okay, but... Okay. So we kind of also... Oh, God. There's so much to do this turn. Yeah, not going for the ball. I think that is fair enough. Just fouling an elf. Seriously hurt. Finally, a removal. Long past the point where it ever matters. The Apo says the injury is okay, and I do believe that was a 6-6, so also caught on the armor roll. And sent off. So, the foul results in the permanent removal of another Old World Alliance player. Yeah, 2 really, really quick games. Oh wow, Ferret's scoring. Ferret just wants to enjoy this. What an absolutely toxic player. Well, we all knew that. At this point, now I think it's impossible. Well, again, not strictly impossible probably, but as close to as possible. Pitch invasion. Stuns the halfling. Of course it does. Stuns both halflings. Oh yeah, sure, why not? As J.D. Whitey once said, why not, why not, why not, why not, why not, why not? Pause. Longer pause. Ah! It takes the both down. Reasonable. We are speeding through these turns now. Star Ferret attempts to go and run for the ball, but fails a rush and falls over. Pause for dramatic effect. Yeah, exactly. Well, it was even better than that, Collie, because it was pause to leave the room. And then the is coming from the next room over. Oh, okay. Yeah, top skulls, why not? Oh my goodness. I have to say, commiserations to Gimlick, who has been a game competitor in this game, but yeah, clearly the dice have been atrocious for him in these two games. Probably less bad in this one, but still not good. In the first one, they were just horrific. And yeah, congratulations to... I know I'm slightly jumping the gun here, but I'm gonna say it. I don't think Gimlick is scoring 4 touchdowns next turn. So congratulations to Star Ferret. And thank you so much for signing up. It's been a pleasure to have you. I was so glad that you decided to come and do this with me. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Do stop by next week, where we will have a new challenger, and we will also have a slightly different overlay, because at the moment the overlay I have here has 2 faces for the challenger, but I have another overlay prepared which has one which is the challenger and one which is the champion. So we'll see that in just a sec, after the game is actually confirmed. As Ferret is going for the 4-0. Who's even going to throw? Oh, this guy. What an absolute scumbag. Fails. Oh my god! Are you shitting me? What the fuck? Yeah, okay, fine, why not? Oh dear. Fair enough. Well, enjoy your work conference, and thank you again for signing up. I know, Collie. You know, this is exactly what the competition needed, though. It needed a heel, right? So now we have the person to root against. Gosh, yeah. What a match. What an absolute dicing of a match. The king of Blood Bowl, the king of the pitch, Star Ferret, your monarch. Hail to the king, baby. You're already rooting against him. I mean, to be expected. Is Gimlick going to be able to get their touchdown in this game? No, doesn't go for it. Just wants to kill an elf. I understand. I also want to kill an elf after this game. I am in favour of murder, but murder is not forthcoming. Can you get them down below 11 elves? Yeah, I mean, this died on like turn 2 or something, where Ferret just left it to be served, and since then it's been fine. Like, nothing bad has happened. So Blitz is here to get a bigger foul, which I approve. Just a push. Well, sorry, just a stun, rather. And the foul comes in. I think that was stunned. I think it's okay. Yep, it's just stunned. Insane. And that was it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first edition of the King of the Pitch is over. And your champion, your King of the Pitch, your reigning monarch is... Oop, this is the wrong way around. I should have updated this before we started. On a streak of 1. Star Ferret, who has won this series 2-0. What? It's rigged, I know. Excellent stuff. So that has been a lot of fun. And yes, so now we have the overlay with the streak on and with the little crown. I spent like all of Saturday drawing these shitty pictures. I am not a good artist. I'm quite proud of that orc. He's got like multicolored eyes. Look at him. But okay, yeah, and let's hope for a slightly more competitive set of dice for the next series next week. So, as I said at the start of the stream, this will be a multi-week thing, and the winner gets to stay on, which means that Star Ferret will be there as your champion, your defending champion next week, against a challenger whose name I will not yet reveal. Yes, that's right. The challenger comes in with a slight disadvantage in the sense that the challenger knows who you are, but the champion does not know who the challenger is. Which is just to avoid, like, say Misspelled Tree wants to play, and someone builds, like, 3 teams that are just stacked with Tackle Mighty Blow or something, so that she can play elves on the first one. Ferret, no, you can absolutely build 3 new teams for the next round. I suppose I didn't make that clear in the rules. It was obvious in my head, but I guess it wasn't clear in the rules. So yes, the next challenger is a mystery. Ooh. Yeah, I didn't want there to be too much counter teaming, because like it's no fun if Yudlagar signed up and someone built 3 teams that beat goblins or something. Like, I mean, come on. Right, so that's the idea, and once you're the champion, you're accepting that risk. So that's the idea. Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by. It's been a pleasure. I know it wasn't the hugest audience today, but I think this is this is going to build. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this. So, right, we'll find out who else is. Yeah, that was kind of the problem. I knew it. Davo and Jimmy are streaming. So we're going to be raiding Andy Davo, and yeah, we'll catch you next week. Bye. Oh yeah, now I have to wait for the actual raid to load. I always do this. I'm like, type the raid up, give my goodbye, then press the raid button, and then I'll have to wait for 10 seconds for the actual raid to happen. Anyway, now, goodbye!